Hi everyone, and welcome to Cooking with Cricket. Today I'm going to do a repeat video. In fact, I think this was my very first video, cooking video that I ever put up was me making my basic gravy, white pan gravy. So I'm having it for supper tonight, so I thought I'd bring you along. So I am cutting, I have my pan, and I always use this little pan making gravy, but I have it on medium heat. I'm adding 1 tablespoon of butter. And y'all, I really don't measure stuff, y'all know that. But I did with this. And I'm adding 1/4 cup of oil. Now I'm using vegetable oil. And I'm going to let that melt and heat up just a little bit. If you were frying bacon, you could use the bacon grease. If you were frying sausage, you could use the sausage grease. And a lot of people do their oil, like the same amount of oil, same amount of flour. I don't do that with my gravy. So, like I say, I usually don't even measure it. So, bringing you along, this is the way that I've been making it for years and years and years and years and years. Alright, I was just waiting on the butter to melt. It don't have to get hot or anything. But I know this is going to look like a lot and sound like a lot, but I'm adding 1/2 cup of flour. And I use a whisk to make sure there's no lumps. I'm getting all the corners. And how this looks now, if I wasn't filming, I would even add a little bit more flour. And then sometimes if I think I might have too much, once I get the flour to where it's ready to add the milk to it, I take out a little bit in case it's not thick enough, and then I can add that back in. I know this is confusing. I'm just going to link that video in the description box. Maybe even in the iCard if I remember, so you can just see it. I don't like my first videos. I talked real slow like this, and I was so nervous. Now we're going to let this heat up, and we're going to stir it so it doesn't burn. But we want this to, the flour, to let some of that flour taste cook out of it, or it will taste gluey. So just a couple of minutes once it starts to sizzle. Alright, while I'm waiting on that to sizzle, I add 2 cups of milk. I use whole milk that I already have a lot of black pepper in, because I like a lot of black pepper in my gravy. And I also add 1 cup of water. Please don't ask me why. That's how I've been making it. I don't even remember why. I can't remember if that's how my mama made it, but that's just how I do it. So you can add just 3 cups of milk. I probably did it just to save on the milk. I don't know, because you know we were very poor. Okay, see it sizzling? Let it sizzle for a few seconds and then stir it for a few seconds. You kind of want to stay with it because your flour, you know, will burn. And we're not really looking for it to change any color or anything. You could let it till the flour starts just to change colors. Alright, this has been cooking a couple of minutes, maybe about 3 minutes. And now I'm going to add my milk all at one time. I'm not going to add little bits and then stir. I'm just going to add it all at one time. Give it a real good whisk. Make sure you get it all, go all around the sides. And we'll be able to tell how thick it's going to be once it comes up to the boil. And I'm about to add my water here in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and add a pinch of salt. I poured my water and what I had my milk in to get all that pepper that was left behind. And I may not use all of the water, but I'll see. I used about a half of it. Just make sure you whisk it real good right now. You get all the lumps out. I'm even going to take my spoon, go around the edges. You can see the flour, it gets stuck up on the edges. Okay, I'm going to tell y'all a funny story. Or I think it's funny. You know, back when we were little, like in the 70s, you know, everything wasn't heat proof. And my mama was making us some biscuits and gravy. And she had bought her a new little plastic spoon. And I'm sure it was at a dollar store. So she was stirring her gravy. And when she went to pull the spoon up, there was no spoon. It had done melted all in the gravy. And we was like laughing. And she always would say, well, Lord have mercy. So she threw that batch out and had to make us some more. It was quite funny. Alright, I'm going to stay with this. I don't have to stir it constantly. But I do just want to make sure I get all that flour and all incorporated so I don't have any lumps. You know, I'll let it stand a few minutes, whisk it real good, and so on till it comes up to the boil. And it's going to take it a good minute or two because my heat's just on medium. I see some bubbles forming. Make sure you whisk it then because you could still get some lumps. Now, a lot of people make tomato gravy. They may add a can of diced tomatoes in their gravy. I don't do that. I don't like it that way because of the texture of the tomatoes. And with me, it's a lot of texture when I eat something. So I take a whole tomato and I dice it up. I got salt and pepper on that, and I'll pour my gravy over that. Now that's some good eating right there. That's what I was raised on, and that would even be our supper. And now I do not like a real thick gravy. I like mine sort of on the thin side. So if you like yours thicker at the beginning, add a little bit more flour. This is something really you just got to play with. Now you could take this right now, once it's come up to the boil, add you some cheese to it and stuff, pour it over some macaroni, and you got you some macaroni and cheese sauce. You could do a lot of things with this basic gravy, because once again it reaches its full boil, that's how thick it's going to be, and I might need to thin it down just a little bit. And you can always add you a little bit more milk or water to thin it down if you don't want it real thick. See, it's gotten thicker, and I hope you can see that. We're bubbling pretty good. And the thickness is really good. So I'm going to let it continue to do this for about 30 seconds. See, it's really bubbling. And keep it stirred, and then I'm going to pour some over my tomatoes, and I'll meet you at my table. If this was too thick, just add you little bits of water or milk at a time and stir it in real good, and then let it come back up to the bubble. Okay, I need to hurry because my camera's about to die. But I know a lot of y'all is probably thinking, "Ooh, that looks gross." And I added more pepper to it because I have to have a lot. But it's really good. And you can actually pour it over your biscuit. I just eat mine this way. To me, that's some good eating right there. Have you had this before? Please let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Comment, because I do love hearing from you. Subscribe and hit the notification bell. And until my next video, I hope you enjoy. Love y'all. Bye. Okay, supper was good, but I just now remember why I add water to the milk. And excuse it for shaking because I'm holding it. While I was putting on my pajamas, I kept thinking and thinking, and I just now remembered Mama didn't buy much milk when it was just me and her, because, you know, there's risk that it might go bad. Expensive, so she would just buy the cans of evaporated milk because they kept, and you had to add water to it like when cooking gravy and stuff. So I think that's where that evolved from, because I really didn't know what good fresh milk was till I got married and bought my own, but she would just buy the evaporated cans. So anyway, that's why, I think.